We might think of places like Lindisfarne as being remote and isolated, but far from it. Today, just as it was in the early medieval period, the northeast of England was a melting pot of different cultural influences, and we can quite clearly see this reflected in the runes and the artwork that adorn our Anglo-Saxon namestones. Many of them are inscribed with runes known collectively as the Futhorc. These characters were gradually replaced by the Old English Latin alphabet introduced by Christian missionaries from Ireland and from Scotland. Those are the sort of very rounded, half-unsealed script kind of letterings that you'll recognise from lots of the famous manuscripts. But actually, we also continue to see runes being used until the 10th or 11th century, and they clearly remain important to the Northumbrian Church. In fact, we see them used side by side with Latin characters on plenty of commemorative objects, not just on namestones, but even on things like the coffin of St. Cuthbert, who was one of the most famous and important Christian figures of the time. And just like the lettering, much of the artwork we see at the time is influenced by multiple different cultural traditions. We've got those coming from Ireland and Scotland, bringing with them painting and calligraphy featuring bold, curvilinear motifs and elaborate knotwork. The Anglo-Saxons themselves excelled in metalwork bursting with colour and complex zoomorphic interlacings. Books and manuscripts coming back and forth from the Mediterranean world also made their impression, including the increasingly naturalistic representation of people. Places like Lindisfarne were in direct contact with Rome, and for a while, many of Northumbria's great monastic centres were in turmoil about which way to look, west towards the Irish world or east towards continental Europe and Rome. In AD 664, at the Synod of Whitby, they chose Rome. Over time, motifs taken from Irish calligraphy, Anglo-Saxon metalwork, continental books, they were all blended together to produce a new, distinctive style that can be instantly recognised in many of the great manuscripts, like the Lindisfarne Gospels, the Book of Durrow, and the Book of Kells. This fresh new style that was developed in Anglo-Saxon England went on to influence medieval art throughout Europe, and the Kingdom of Northumbria was absolutely pivotal in its formation.